Hello there, welcome back. Welcome back to the Technology Innovation Hub. So this time is going to be a session from DevOps, right? DevOps portal. You may remember we have had the introduction, DevOps industry overview has been given. So by now we may have already seen that introduction and overview, right? Let me share the screen, right? Right. So this is the last slide on that, right? I just want to recall that because in that slide I mentioned what the next step is going to be, right? So this is what build a basic CI/CD pipeline. Up next, practical on building basic on-premise CI/CD pipeline, right? So this is the next one is on cloud, right? So this is what we are going to do now because we are going to start with hands-on in DevOps, right? So almost the overview is given. So let's start the hands-on. So actually, this is going to be the place where for any beginner should start with DevOps. Now, if you want to build your career with DevOps, so this is the place to start with, right? So because CI/CD pipeline is the fundamental, right? Because you cannot start a DevOps environment, or you cannot start the culture of DevOps without having the CI/CD infrastructure in place. By now, you know what is CI/CD is already. Continuous integration, continuous delivery deployment pipeline, and what is the purpose, what it does. We all know this theoretically, overview has been given. So let's start this practical. Actually, now in this session, I just give you what we are trying to do here, right? Let me just show you because we are going to build an on-premise one and we are going to build based on Docker, right? So this is the practical CI/CD basic platform. This is the document that we are going to follow. Actually, this one is going to be based on Docker, right? So CI/CD platform will be built based on Docker, right? You may wonder what you mean by based on Docker. Still, most of you may not aware at least what is a Docker, right? So some of you may know by now what is a Docker by Googling and all. But don't worry, I'm going to give a theoretical introduction to Docker also later. But for the time being, let's keep away the theory for a while and let's try to get into the hands-on right away, installing Docker and configuring it, running it, and likewise. Let's try to do some hands-on. After that, let's get into the Docker theory. Hope that will help you to understand, comprehend Docker in the properly, right? Okay, so this is the very first step. The step one, what it says, create a GitHub account. So I think most of you have a GitHub account at the moment, and you can just visit this particular repo. Of course, it is one of my old repos, but I think when I'm uploading this document, I will change to the correct repo because we have a GitHub repository specifically for DevOps, right? So I will put it there, right? So you can poke it from there, right? So that's not a problem, right? So you can poke it from there, poke it to your Git account. So this is nothing much, just a very small Java program. This is a very small Java program just to say hello. So we will change it, right? Once you build the environment, we will see how the things are going to get changed, right? And we are really changing the code, right? And we'll be committing the code to the repository, and then the pipeline should trigger. So let's see those things. So it's a Java base and it is a Maven project, Maven base, right? So the build management behind this project is a Maven driven Java project, right? So we have the pom.xml file, right? So therefore we need Maven as well. So let's get into more detail. So actually what it does, initially it will just display hello, welcome to DevOps something, right? I'll come to more detail later. So what we are trying to do here now in CI/CD pipeline, once the pipeline is set it up, as the developer checks in the code, any modification, it should pick it up and right away it should deploy and the end user should be able to see the modification. Right? So in this pipeline, we are going to witness that. We are going to change this code, right? We are going to go into the Java file and we are going to edit the code and commit it. Once it's committed, that commit should be automatically picked up by the our tool is Jenkins. The build, the management server is Jenkins. So Jenkins automatically will pick it up, and we are going to deploy it via a Tomcat server to the web. And the end user from the browser, it should be able to right away access the change. That means initially I might say, hello, welcome to DevOps. Then I will say, hello, welcome to DevOps with Technology Innovation Hub. So the change immediately should be published to the web. So it doesn't matter. So enough of theories, we witness it, right? Right. So that is the thing. That is what we are going to do actually in detail. Do it on practically. So very first thing is GitHub and fork it, right? Then the second thing is this. Set up Jenkins on Docker. So this is what, right? Set up Jenkins on Docker. So as I mentioned, we are going to do this practical based on Docker. And there are different ways to do it. Now, instead of going to Docker installing Jenkins, I can install Jenkins directly on another, I mean, a VirtualBox and no manual way of downloading and installing. But we are not going to do it. We are going to do it the most effective and the efficient uh, productive method for DevOps, right? So we are going to get the Docker, pre-built Docker, and I'm going to get it and we are going to configure the way we want, right? So you can see Docker container run. We'll understand all of those things. So this is, we are pulling a Jenkins, official Jenkins Docker, right? From the Jenkins Blue Ocean. So that is the image name. We are going to pull it and it will get pulled, right? And we are going to run it, right away run it, right? Docker, and the name is there, and detach and forward, those things are given. But before explaining this one, so ultimately Jenkins will be able to access from 8080. But before explaining this one into detail, now you may already see now we are running a Docker command, right? But you all are starting from this first, no? This is for a very basic beginner to understand what is CI/CD, right? So now you need to do the all tools. Now where is Docker? You don't have Docker, no, right? In your Linux box, you don't have Docker installed. So that's why when you run this command, it is a command not found or something like because there is no Docker. So the very first thing, prior to starting this practical, there's a prerequisite, right? There is a prerequisite. What is the prerequisite? We need to set up Docker, right? So initially, before coming this, we need to set it up Docker, right? So I'll tell you that one how to set up Docker right away, right? But let me just go to quickly in this one. Step 2 is installing Jenkins. Then we need to set up Maven, right? So that you can get the idea what is the flow of the practical. Then install means configure the Maven on Jenkins. We have to log into Jenkins and configure. Then we can test something for CI environment because Jenkins build server is set up now. And after that, this is about running that particular Java program, right? Let's check those. And after that, once the CI is done, CD, deployment pipeline. So we need to put the CentOS, right? And within the CentOS, we are going to put a CentOS image and we are going to run it. And within that, we are going to get into that particular CentOS image. When it's running, we can connect to the container. Then within the container, we are going to install what? We are going to install Tomcat, right? Because that is our deployment environment. Because this is a web-based application, we are going to deploy it via web, right? Deploy it via web, and we are going to install Tomcat. Then after that, we are going to configure Jenkins in such a way as the code checks in to automatically pick up the compiled jar file and the WAR file and deploy it to the Tomcat server and publish it to the web. So you'll be able to access it via web, right? So that's the practical actually. So there's a certain things to be done, configured, but don't worry, I'll be demonstrating step by step, right? So this is the final, the way we are going to access it, web app, right? That's the default place which get deployed. We haven't given any point, we are keeping it default because the whole purpose is understanding how the CI/CD works, right? Okay, so that is that, but before that, we need to set up Docker. So how we are going to set up Docker, right? So to set up Docker, I have another document for you, right? So I'm going to upload all of those things. Once I did the practical, I'm going to upload, right? Once I complete the practical, I'll be uploading these things, right? So then to set it up Docker, now I have used Oracle Enterprise Linux. because I am using the same setup. Yeah, you may remember, since you all are following the Oracle portal as well, we have used Oracle Enterprise Linux 7, right? So 7.9, the last version of 7. So I am using the same setup, right? So I think if you want to get to know how to install Oracle Enterprise Linux on a virtual box, if you follow the Oracle portal video, it is very nicely explained there, right? So that setup you can do it. So I'm not going to repeat it here. And that is always I'm going to use. But if somebody else using something other, some other way like Ubuntu, CentOS, Fedora, don't worry. Let me show you. Now this guide, the reference is there. This is from Jenkins side because our build server is Jenkins, and we are going to run Jenkins on Docker. So therefore, you go to Jenkins, to explain the full command for Jenkins as well to pull the Docker. Wait. I'm here now. So I'm inside the VM. So I can't copy outside, right? Should be able to copy, but yes, right. So this is a Jenkins official documentation. So in that, if you go here, you have how to install Docker, right, in Jenkins. So anyway, it will call Docker site, right? So why I'm going to Jenkins, because we have some configuration work to be done with Jenkins. So you have to follow this documentation to do that, right? And from there we can get it. Now you can see install Docker. If you go to Docker Hub, right, it will call to go to the Docker Hub, and you can see how to download and install is given here for a relevant OS. For each OS, separate guide is there, right? And you can see Docker Community Edition is there, right? For Fedora, for CentOS, and Mac and AWS, Windows, right? Azure, like Ubuntu, right? So select whatever the guide relevant for you. But I have, since I'm using Oracle Enterprise, so I have the guide configured here how to do it, because there are slight differences in different OSs, right? So, but for CentOS and all, no, again, there's a slight difference between Oracle Enterprise and CentOS. Doesn't matter, right? Doesn't matter. That you can manage that one, because that guide is given perfectly in the Docker Hub. That's just what I showed you earlier, right? Okay. So that's the first step. So you need to install Docker, right? So the all steps are given here. etc, you have to enable the repository local. You need to get the add-ons enabled, developer. We have package install, and there are certain configurations to be done. And the very first step, I have installed the the zip and unzip utility, because we need those things. But it might be already installed. So that's anyway, I'm just giving you in case it is not installed, right? So we will start from here, right? So, and ultimately, once we complete this one, we are going to have Docker up and running, right? So we can check the Docker process, system control, the process enable. Once you enable it, the process must be up and running, right? System control is start Docker service, then system control is status Docker. So this will give the output. It is active, right? So we will check these things once the installation is complete. So, okay. So yeah, since we are going to have short video, so I'm going to stop this session here. So in the next session, we will start right away from the Docker installation on Oracle Enterprise Linux. Right. Okay. Thank you very much. If you like the video, just subscribe to the video. I will see you soon. Have a nice day. Right. Bye bye.